There are hedge fund managers making $1 million an hour. You know, it's crazy, right? It's money everywhere. It's money in everything. I want to help you. Start your business today. Come join my royal family. Subscribe to Casino Is the Name. Hey, yo, what's going on right now? You're watching Casino Is the Name, and I'm sitting here with Bianca, and she is an artist, actress, singer.
Come on now.
Some of everything, you know. Jack of all trades, I guess.
Yes.
So I wanted to talk to her about, I guess, the recording country, breaking down, you know, because on this channel we like to talk about business.
Okay.
And so I wanted to just kind of like pick her brain about like contracts, because she's seen a little bit of everything in this industry. So can you tell us, I guess, like some background information on like point systems and things like that a new artist might be, you know,
well, see,
to kind of pay attention to?
a lot of things have changed.
Okay.
See, when I got my first deal, I was straight out of high school.
Okay.
With Universal Records. And the point system was awesome. We shared points with the group. There was a group of 4 of us.
Okay.
I was in a group called Co-Ed.
Okay.
And there were 4 of us, and we all wrote, we all sang. Well, you know, some of us produced on the record. Okay. But some of us had publishing deals, which, you know, allow for more money to be made if you're writing some of the records. Yeah. You know, at the time I was like a teenager, so I really kind of just was dibbling and dabbling with writing. Right. And I'm a bigger writer now than I was then. But back then I was just, you know, learning how to get my feet wet with doing the writing and everything. But it's a big part of it. And when you're an artist, you don't really understand that as a writer, you know, writers get paid last. Like, you know, everybody get paid first. You got the engineers, you got the producers. I mean, everybody, literally everybody gets paid before a writer does. So it's very good as an artist to make sure that you can solidify a publishing deal early on. Or if you don't have a publishing deal, you make sure that you get, you know, all your stuff straight with BMI or ASCAP to make sure that whatever you are writing is getting the recognition, and you're getting all the monetary value for everything that plays, whether it's on a movie, soundtrack, whether you're writing for other people, whatever it is, they're going to pick it up. Okay. And when you're really young, sometimes you don't understand all of that. Right. You know, it's just like, hey, I'm writing this for this person, because, you know, an idea or a vibe cannot be, nobody can monetize that. Okay. So if you're in a room and you just giving all your vibes away, because I've done that too, you know what I'm saying? Because when you're young and you in the game, you just want to be in the room.
Yeah, you just enjoy. You
just want to be in the room with everybody that's doing it. So I've fallen into that category when I've been in there just singing and you know, singing ad libs and just giving the sauce away, and then heard a person's song and I'm like, hold up, them all my runs. This is everything that I was in there doing.
Like, man, that sounds good. Why does that sound so good?
And you cannot monetize those type of ideas because they're just ideas. Right. But if you're writing and you've got words and you do split sheets for who wrote what. I was
going to get into that.
Yeah, you get a split sheet. Hey, I wrote this. I wrote 25% of this and that. Because a lot of people don't know a song is 200%. So if a producer if he is the producer of the track, he's pretty much going to get 100%. And then the other 100% is shared with the writers, the arrangers, things of that nature.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where all of that comes in. Now, points and stuff like that gets tricky because it's all going to depend on your deal. And nowadays, people are not really getting record deals. You know how it goes is the way it goes is that people are just putting out records and they're just seeing if it's thick, seeing if it goes. So the music business is definitely different now. People can just put out records and put out content and put out music.
TuneCore.
You can use. I use DistroKid. DistroKid is one that I use.
1 RPM.
Yes, yes. So you got a lot of them, and TuneCore and DistroKid are one that will allow for splits. And allow for different writers. So if you wrote the song with different writers, you can actually enter their name in so that they get their credit as well. So that's a big thing, you know, because some of them, if they don't have that publishing aspect, I would say stay away from those because, you know, then you might get into litigation later. Right. So you want to make sure that you kind of like put out your records the right way.
That's why I like TuneCore, because
Right.
Pay like $75
Right.
one time
for the year.
Yeah.
And then, you could put out as many records as you want. And that's a beauty in it now, because it didn't used to be like that. You had to get a major deal to get your music heard. And that's not the case anymore. People going straight to TikTok, straight to all the, and I have still not figured out how to the algorithm of TikTok just yet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find it though. I'm gonna find it, but I have not been able to put my finger on that algorithm just yet. But I'm working on it right now, because I'm an R&B artist, and as you know, R&B is different than rap. Okay,
Absolutely.
it is so much easier for a rap artist to put out a record and it just be just like somebody to just light it up like 30 seconds. The other minute, 2 minutes of the song could suck.
Yeah.
But 30 seconds of that song, somebody is liking that 30 seconds so much that they'll make a dance to it. They'll share it. Yeah. And now the song is like got streams and streams and streams and streams. So with those streams, you want to make sure that you're making sure that your song is getting the streams and that you're monetizing it.
Gotcha.
Because that happens a lot too. Like people put out records and then they don't have all that together, and then it's just out there.
So would you prefer being indie or major?
I mean, that's a hard one, because most artists like myself, an R&B artist needs backing.
Okay.
A lot of times it's easier for a rap artist to put out a record and they just go and they can do shows.
It's way faster to put out music as a rapper, because you don't have to find melodies and all that kind of stuff.
They go to the strip club. They put a record out. if it's hot, they're gonna play it, and then it becomes. And they could come and perform. They could do a walkthrough. Yeah. They could just get paid just for walking in the club. Yeah. Have you heard of a lot of R&B singers getting walked through money?
Big.
No, you ain't. You got to be pretty big to get money like that. So when you think about an R&B artist, I just want y'all to put on your thinking caps for a second and think about what an R&B artist has to put forth. When we put a show on, we need dancers. We need singers, background singers. I mean, when we go on the road, we need a lot of things that come with us. Normally we just don't go on the road with just tracks. Yeah. But when you a rapper, it's just you and your boys and some tracks. And y'all going in the clubs, y'all going everywhere, and they making all that money. But for us, it's a little bit different. That's why it's so important to get these streams and put it out on different platforms and through movies and through TV series and things like that to get it out there, because it's a lot harder for R&B artists than it is for rap artists.
Gotcha. So, say when you were doing the deals before, how were they doing advances? Were they doing advances?
Yes, I got my advance. Yes, I did.
So so you have to wait until when to recoup? Like, how long does it take to recoup an advance?
Okay, so when we got our deal, it was basically $1 million deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't even expecting her to say her numbers, but that's a good number.
Yeah, it was an amazing number, especially back then. We talking early 2000s.
Sheesh.
We talking early 2000 $1 million deal, and people don't realize $1 million ain't shit. It really ain't shit. You think that like, oh my God, like we done did it. Oh my goodness, we came up.
Split 4 ways.
Okay.
All the stuff got to come out.
So you have advances that come off the top of that money, and then this is the same money that you're recording your album with. It's the same money that you're doing your album cover. It's the same money that you are doing, like say if you go into the studio time. Every time we took a CD home, that motherfucker was like $20. Like when we actually asked for an itemized list, because we couldn't believe, we were like, nigga, we ain't spent no $1 million. Let me see.
Dang.
And they gave us an itemized bill. They give us a whole itemized bill. They break it down every time you went to McDonald's, every time you ordered food to the studio, every time you needed a CD to take home. People don't take CDs home no more. That's
Cars don't even come with CDs.
No, they don't even come like that no more. But at the same time, back then you was like everything. You wanted to go home and listen to it and whatever, and you might take all of that costs. The engineer, I mean, everything is coming out of this budget, and you really do not understand, like the hotel rooms. If you bring in a crew, all of that comes out of it. When we went and did our album cover shoot, cost us so much. We shot our album cover in the Bahamas. And so we flew, not only did we fly out our photographers, we had to fly out our stylists, hairstylists, makeup artists. It was 4 of us. And then, our manager and, our team. We paying for everybody's room, food every day, per
Travel,
diem,
yeah,
everything is
Oh
coming
my
out of that
God.
same $1 million deal that you signed.
Okay.
And you don't realize that, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I want to keep that Gucci jacket at the end of the shoot. You like, hey, let me keep this. It's
like,
nice.
keep it.
Yeah, look,
It's
you got
yours.
it. It's yours.
It's yours.
Like,
Go
it's
ahead.
of course it is. Even some stylists, I won't say names, but some of
Yeah.
our stylists would keep shit, and it would come out of our budget as well. Even though we didn't have it, we paid for it.
Wow.
So, you know, it's a
and
lot
as a
of
new
it.
artist, you don't know
No,
until the end.
you just having fun. You like, shh, let's get this money. Let's
Forever.
do this.
It's
Let's
gonna
get
be
this.
lit forever.
Yes, and you just having so much fun, and you young. And when you young and got money, that's so
Oh,
dangerous.
yes.
When you
Oh, yes. Oh,
when you
yes.
young and got
Yeah.
money, oh my God, you
Yeah.
know, it's just easy to blow. It's easy to spend
Yeah.
it. It's easy to not understand
Yeah.
how to save, how
Yeah,
to
for sure.
put it back in the game.
Yeah.
You know, so
Think about this, right? So, artists, like athletes, most of them see the majority of their money in the beginning part of their life.
Right.
Every other profession, the longer you're in a profession, say you're a doctor, you make more money in your later
years
than you do in the
Right.
earlier part of your years.
Right.
So, but artists, athletes, they like usually the opposite. Make $100 million by the
Yeah.
time they 25 as an athlete.
And then they just go down and
from
down.
25, they get out of the NFL or
Right.
the NBA, and then
they got to figure it out.
they got to make 40,000, 50,000 a year.
But that's just like a lot of artists getting those advances, like we were talking about. Like if you get that deal and you get an advance,
Yeah.
that advance, they go just blow it, like
Right.
on chains and clothes and cars or whatever. But that's the money that you really are supposed to really maintain throughout the remainder of the album. Like, you know, just keeping yourself cool without really having to ask the label for anything. And we don't understand that. We just like, oh, this my money, and then I'm spending my money. But then you don't realize that every time you go to Wendy's, McDonald's, every time. I mean, because that's when we were young, so that's when we would eat Wendy's like every, like, you know what I'm saying?
And you're paying for the accounting.
Yeah, you're paying for all.
I'm an accountant, right?
So, yeah. My lawyers, the accounting, all of that. You're paying for all of that stuff.
Pay for that stuff. That's being itemized on
And they
the
all
salaries.
get paid before you do.
Absolutely.
They all get paid.
They gonna
Now,
recoup-
your advancement, that's one thing. Then
Yeah.
you got your advance, boom. And that's normally just like a lump sum. And don't owe nobody. Don't owe nobody. You know, like once
Yeah.
you get your advance, that's going to come off of that advancement.
Yeah.
So, you know, I ain't going to talk about who.
Studio time.
I ain't gonna talk about like the things that happen to artists, but you know, say you were in a label and you left that label and then you still owe them some money or something like that, but you left the label, but when you get a new deal, like they come back for that money and they'll take that out the top and that'll come off of your advancements. So it's a lot to it, but now things are so different. That's why young artists are just taking off because they're able to understand how TikTok works, understand how Instagram and all of these different streaming mechanisms help you to sell records and streams. Now, one thing I did not understand going in this new, because it's not a music game. There's just there's the stream game.
Yeah.
The music business
It's
is
not an
really
album sale game.
no. It's not really a record like it's all about streaming.
Yeah. Right.
You know, you're not selling albums no more. You're not selling CDs. You're not selling tapes and no shit like that. So now it's all about the streams, about what you're doing. So if you're selling those streams, you have to get a certain amount of streams for it to start to monetize. Once you like, you know, you get to like 1, 2, 3, you know, like, but once you get to a certain amount, then it starts to collect up and then you start to see money for it. You know, so I didn't understand that because when I first dropped like some of my independent records and I was like, ooh, I got like 2,000 cents. So I'm thinking like people paid 99 cents. But each time they had my song, I'm like, yeah, I got 2,000 streams. So I'm thinking like, I'm going to go see my little bank account. They're going to be like, $2,000. No, sir. It's like, and once you get
Like
to the
pennies.
yes, it's pennies on the dollar, and then it add up, and then it's like, okay, now you can start making money.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's just it's the understanding of this whole internet game and all of this stuff. But if you don't get with it, you will get left behind because the music game has changed, and if you can't get with it, you will be like stuck.
So that's why it's kind of like YouTube, right? YouTube is actually better to me. Well, things like YouTube because I can make a bunch of videos. By the time an artist has to go to the studio, record, write something, you know, and all of that. And some of my videos stream more than some of these independent artists that I know.
Yeah.
And I make more per view as well. So
and your subscribers and all that, man. Yeah.
So, you know, it's pretty interesting to see.
It's a lot to get these days, but it's a definitely easier way. But if you don't understand it, it could be hard for you.
Yeah. It's a big transition, especially when somebody comes from like the old school mentality of pressing up CDs, in clubs, doing all that. That's dead.
And I mean, I hate to call myself old school, but I came from that time when we were selling our CDs, when we were selling, you know, getting out there and, you know, had CDs in the trunk and all of that stuff, you know, but none of that is going on no more. So it's like,
because even when you said, you know, go to the strip club and get a song played, it's like that's dead.
No,
like,
ain't
we're not
about doing
even in the house no more. Like we're shooting.
Yeah, you just need a DJ in your pocket at this point and be like, oh yeah, my DJ playing, put me on the playlist or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
If you can get on some playlists, but what if your DJ doesn't have playlists? It's like, there's no reason to leave the house anymore.
No.
Like, put your videos on YouTube, contact some playlists, and try to get on some playlists. Because like you can shoot your video in the living room now, and you know, but it's people out running around behind clubs, paying to get in, buying outfits, and doing all this stuff.
Yeah, and they thinking that's the way that it's still going.
Still going down.
And they'll take your money. They still will take your money. They still will say thank you, and take your money and let you think that you are a part of this game, but you really not. But that was the reason why I started selling merch, because I started learning how a lot of these rappers and stuff, they weren't using that to like sell their merch and stuff. So like some of the first merchandise that I printed was for Future. Like I created the Free Bands logo, my company. Created the Free Bands logo, and I had a company called The Zone of Art, and we had a shop downtown at the time. I've recently moved back home, and all my stuff is, you know, since the pandemic and all that, everything is in my basement. I still have all my equipment, but my first artist that I worked with was like 2 Chainz and working with Rocco, you know, that Thumb Through the Check and Squares Outside the Circle. I did all of the merch for their first, like, the tours and stuff that they went on.
Gotcha. So you found other ways. Because as an artist, a lot of them, they're just depending on music.
And the labels will start printing merch for them, and then they'll make the money. And then the artists won't see that money because they don't, you know, take that time to really do that.
So how do you feel about 360 deals?
I mean, it could be good if you got a team behind you. If you have your own independent team that you know that can put that groundwork in. Now, when you got a label behind you, they do spend that advertisement money that we don't. Right. We don't know how they spending it, but they have connections. The connections that a record label has are huge compared to where you could reach, you know. So just having a 360 deal, even if you don't stay in that deal, it's good to get that back in.
Yeah, because what I was thinking about was if a label or a company, because I know a lot of people don't like 360 deals, but a lot of other genres was already doing 360 deals. Rap just wasn't, because they didn't think that we can sell anything but music at the time. And so, like, looking at it, it's like labels have more of an incentive to make you big and to help you get other hookups in other areas. Yeah,
they don't want to spend the money up front
because they get a percentage of that.
Yeah, 360 mean that they don't have to spend that money like giving you a deal. 360 mean you already kind of maintaining, you popping, you got it going on already. They just gonna put a little push behind you. Some people be like, fuck your push, I don't need that. You know what I'm saying? Let me just do what I'm doing and make my money. And it works for a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? Because they already got a fan base and they already got a core fan, you know, that they can sell to. But when it comes to a 360 or a single deal, things like that, why not? Why not try it? If you a struggling artist, you trying to get out there, and somebody come with you with a single deal, you should take that, because that's putting you in a place where people are recognizing you and seeing you in other platforms and different genres and stuff like that. Like you could get put on a show with artists that you never would have performed with, you know, being on a label 360 or single deal. So you know, how many albums do labels usually sign? With one album deals now? I mean, really, honestly, that's really what it is. Like, you know, I haven't really heard of anybody really getting like people still get deals, believe it or not. They still do get deals, but they are structured so different now. So I can't just call what everybody's doing now, because every single deal is like different. And if you got a business mind, then you can really structure your own deal the way you want. And if you know what you're talking about, they'll fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? As long as you got the backing behind you, the put your money where your mouth is, and you're gonna have to put some money up too. You know what I'm saying? They want to make sure that you can maintain on your own, and because labels are not just giving out a whole bunch of money no more. They struggling. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's the streaming. The streaming is where it's all out. If they know that you got a core fan base and that you can make money on your own, they like, let's get it. You know, she's a win. It's a win. You know what I mean? So you know, you got to put that work in, and you know, it's nothing is easy in this game. I don't give a damn how easy it look. It's not easy. So
so this is the raw right here. She telling you the raw business of the music game right now.
And I'm still trying to figure it out, ladies and gentlemen. So do not you know, it's a learning game. It's a learning process. Like I said, I'm an R&B artist. Yes. So the way that I put out a record is gonna be different than the way Lil Nas X put out a record, or the way the next person puts out a record. You know, it's gonna be different. So you know, so that's what we doing now. We getting it together so that we can.
So we're at an open mic night. That's why you're hearing people talking. So, but you know, we just had Miss Bianca, and we're gonna do another little segment on another channel.
Well, thanks for having me. I sure appreciate you for bringing me in here, talk to you about some music and stuff. I sure like that.
Yeah. So, and I got a new channel called $1 Million Cino, where I'm gonna have a bunch of artist interviews and stuff like that. So I'm gonna talk to her about her music now.
Let's get it
on the next video. So y'all go over there and check that video out. All right, right now you're watching Casino Is the Name. Like, share, comment, and subscribe, and we out. Hey, yo, what's going on? Right now you're watching Casino Is the Name, and if you wanted to know how I started my trucking business, I have an ebook called Big Shot, Hot Shot Volume 1, Own Your Trucking Authority. It's a great book, 5-star reviews. The link will be in the description below. Go get that.
Beat me up, Scotty. Me and
her together, we just count it up. Money on my mind, I can't get enough. Don't play with my money, you don't want no beef. Cause I come from the bottom, I come from the street. When she first saw me, she said, who is that? When a man saw me, he called me a threat. I'm the one that really live with a rap. They ain't never did it, they ain't really trap.
You say you want to be successful, but what's stopping you? Can't nothing stop you from being successful except for you. You standing in your own way. I came from the bottom. I ain't know nothing but the grind. You can't tell me nothing about that. I called the Busted Basin Street Projects in Tallahassee, Florida. You hear me? I used to think $1 million would last me my whole life. I'd have made that and spent that. $1 million ain't enough. There are hedge fund managers making $1 million an hour. You know, it's crazy, right? It's money everywhere. It's money in everything. I want to help you. Start your business today. Come join my royal family. Subscribe to Casino Is the Name.